I think after 85 weeks, we know each other well enough now that we're beyond the point of introductions. So I'll just start this off by saying, welcome, listener, to Missing Pieces. Hope you're having a glorious day today, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. In this past week, I've been really thinking about taking Missing Pieces in a direction of being more topical, as I've really been vlogging a lot of my life, and I feel like I'm reiterating a lot of that stuff over here. In fact, I probably have 10 to 12 videos right now of things that we've done that need to be edited and put out to you guys. So instead of telling you, essentially becoming a fortune teller and telling you what to expect in the future that you're just going to watch anyway, I thought let's make this episode and future episodes possibly more topical, where we cover like an individual topic. And this week, it's the perfect start to that because something happened this week that I thought I would love to talk about, and I was just looking for a place to do it, and this seems like the right place. So let's talk about becoming a YouTuber 10 years ago and somehow sticking with it to the point that I've reached my 10-year anniversary of becoming an online content creator or YouTuber, although I've dabbled in other things here and there a little bit, but YouTube has always been my home, and as far as I can see, probably always will be. I thought in this episode, I have a little bit of an outline here, but most of this is going to be kind of just off the cuff and just kind of talking about the why I started or how I started on YouTube, the progression, making it a job, making this a full-time thing that I do for a living and living my dream, essentially. I want to talk about the future and where it's going, and maybe finish this off with some advice to you if you're thinking about becoming a YouTuber or just maybe putting some videos out and seeing where it goes. This is going to be a little bit of some past episodes kind of tied into one, like the Brickitect origin story, but we're going to be going maybe even further back than that. And then it's also going to be episode 3, which I direct people to all the time, which is should you start a YouTube channel or what to do if you're going to do that. We're going to dabble in that a little bit towards the end, but most of this is just going to be my story. And I think that's really fun to share. And this kind of gives you a little bit of that personal element that I look for each week, which is kind of, just like a diary or a journal if you're manly, because you don't want to have a diary, which I'll be okay having a diary. I don't care. But it also is a topic, what's this whole YouTube thing about? And I essentially, I wouldn't say that I got in at the ground floor, but I definitely got in pretty early. And I think that definitely helped in the luck, as some would say, maybe even myself, or the success that I've had on here. So let's go all the way back to the beginning of YouTube. I believe the YouTube came out in like 2016, spring of 2016, I believe. I don't know exactly when I found it, but I remember specifically in July of 2017 finally making an account on here. And it's not the ones that I upload from. It was just like a personal account where I was just going to watch videos and stuff. And I don't remember much of what I watched back then, like in the 2017, 2018 range. But I remember really falling in love with YouTube when I started watching daily vlogs. It became a thing where these people that prior to this would have just done like little skits or pranks or whatever, they decided that they were going to start vlogging their life. And the two creators that I really found like a love for, I guess I'll go as far as to say that, was Shay Carl and the Shay Tards. They actually still make videos. In fact, it was crazy because last night I just watched a new vlog that they put out, and it's so weird to me to see, and maybe this is weird for people that watch our videos as well, to see these kids fully grown up, like a part of this family that I remember seeing when they were just babies, and some of them weren't even born yet, and it's like here they are 11 years later or whatever, and it's just wild to me. But that again shows why I fell in love with this, was the fact that these people were putting their lives online. It was Shay and his family, and it was just like a daily thing. They were just cutting a little bit of their day and showing like a glimpse in their life, and through that, you got to know them and be a part of their family, essentially, or at least what they wanted to share as a part of their family. Because as you come to find out later, not only through them, but also another channel that was doing it around the same time. I think this was like 2019 or 2009. It feels so long ago, doesn't it? Especially after last year. Charles Trippy, CTFXC, they were doing the same thing, and they were like the OGs of daily vlogging. And through these vlogs, like I said, you really got to know these people, and like you felt like a part of their journey, which I think is, you've seen in my world, the journey is very important to me. So I was following those guys, and I just really loved their videos, and I would watch them every day. And it was, I guess, maybe kind of weird for like a 20-something guy to watch this family or whatever, but that connection was really important to me, and I really started seeing like just how amazing YouTube was through that. So we fast forward to 2011, and Cody and I, or Mrs. Brickitect as she's known in some circles, we're about to buy our first home, and I decided like, hey, I'm a very shy person. I'm not good on camera, and in fact, if you go back to my early videos, you'll see this, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. We'll talk about the progression, but this is the very beginning. I decided that since we're getting this new home, I was going to like document this experience. So Cody went to Best Buy and got me the vlogging camera of vlogging cameras at the time, called a Flip Ultra HD, which is just like this. It's almost like a little brick that you hold in your hand. It has a lens on one side and has a screen on the other. Has a giant record button on it, and I still have it actually. I was thinking about maybe making a video with it, and in fact, it would have been really fun. It would have never lasted as long as this episode's going to last, but it would have been fun to record this on my first camera. I wish I would have done that now. It'd be just like a grainy mess. The audio would be terrible, but nonetheless, we could see the progression there too. Quality's gotten a lot better if you didn't know. I think this thing shot in a whopping 720p, but what I ended up doing was she bought me this camera. We brought it home, obviously, and then I started filming like a tour of our house and things that were happening, and just little things. I don't think I was on camera much because, again, I'm an introvert. I'm kind of shy. I don't feel very comfortable on camera. I don't feel like I can really like talk to a camera very well, contrary to what it feels like here. This is a decade of me slowly getting more comfortable, and we'll talk about how passion plays a big role in your success on things, because if I had just like looked at my natural abilities and talents, this wouldn't be something that I do. I'm a much better writer than I am speaker. In fact, if this episode was just written in and I was scripting it and read it off to you, it would be like chef's kiss, like perfection. But off the cuff like this, it feels to me more real, and I don't know, it's just video is my thing, I guess. So that's where we are. You don't have to always follow your strengths. Like, you can be great at something and be like, I'm good at that, but I really love this thing. And, sometimes that passion can propel you potentially. But I started vlogging various things around the house and stuff. In fact, geez, I please don't go that far back to start watching, but you can see some of the things that happened. And one of the first videos I put out was bringing Roxy home, our chocolate lab puppy. And it was just like a regular video, and I highly edited. It was just us kind of going to get her, bringing her home. And it was, it was something that I wanted to have captured, obviously. And crazy enough, that video started doing pretty well. And like, I don't know if that cemented YouTube for me, is like, maybe I can do this, but it was definitely encouraging to see this video, like the numbers start going up, And this is a time when I used to think like, if I don't get like 10 views within the first like week of a video coming out, maybe I'll just take it down. Luckily, I didn't follow that advice. I recommend never, if you're making videos, never delete your videos. You can make them private, but never delete them, because you're going to want to go back someday and be like, this is where I came from, which is kind of what this video is. But that video started doing a little well. And at the same time, this is a time when people on YouTube were actually starting to make money, which is crazy. Like prior to this, like all these people I mentioned earlier, they were initially got on YouTube just because they loved making videos. And I think that's the greatest reason to get on, is because you just think this is really cool and you want to do it. But eventually, like, money started coming in. Advertisers starting seeing the power of having people's attention, and as much as you feel like you're part of someone's family when you're watching their vlogs, maybe it'd be nice to have ads running along that, because you're there every day watching. And crazy enough, in 2012, I think it was like 1 year after I put out the Roxy video, YouTube reached out and invited me into the partner program, which means that I could start making money from putting ads on my videos. And I thought that was amazing. So I signed up, and lo and behold, the next month I got a check for just over $100. And I was so excited about it. In fact, I ended up having it, I made a copy of it before I cashed it. It was a paper check, which they don't even do anymore. I made a copy of it and I framed it, because to me that was like, it was an accomplishment. It meant that I could do this. And I don't know if at the time, I wish I would have done more like journaling back then. I don't know at the time I thought like, hey, this could eventually be like the thing that I do for a living, but I just thought it was neat that I could get my camera out and make a video and like make 5 cents off of that video, or 25 cents potentially. It was incredible, right? So I was so excited about that. And I just kind of kept going. In late 2012, I did something crazy. I had all these toys in our basement, And I thought, you know, it'd be really cool if I made a toy channel. And I love like going over and like shopping for toys at Kmart and stuff. And I thought this would give me an excuse. And that's also a trend you'll see. And I was like, I'm going to make a toy channel. So I made a channel called Greg Loves Toys, which is now Brickitect. It's my gaming channel. It's made some changes over the years. And I started like buying toys and reviewing toys with like the white background and stuff. And I had a video on that channel that popped off how to make like a white background like you'd see a lot of Lego people have that I oftentimes kind of make fun of. But at the time it felt like the right thing to do. And the videos were very like stiff and like just not comfortable. And I didn't really stick with that much. But I was still doing the vlog channel regularly. And a lot of the videos were around Roxy because like I always have like a muse, I guess. And, you know, obviously like these days, like Clark and I, we like have like this thing and it really works well. But at the time it was Roxy Bear and I'd be like all the things that she was doing. She was still a pup and it was a lot of fun. And like those videos all were doing great. So I was doing that. And then I guess we'll fast forward to 2013, late 2013, about a year after I made my toy channel that was kind of not doing much. I decided that why don't I narrow it down and go right into Lego? And like an idiot, instead of just like continuing with that channel and doing a Lego focus, I was like, I'm just going to make a whole new channel. And I came up with this. I was doing P90X leading into my 30th birthday. I was trying to get shredded for like the 90 days leading up to it. I remember working out one day in the basement and thinking, I have the perfect name for it. It's Brickitect. It's a combination between brick, which is like Lego term. You can't use the word Lego historically. I mean, you can get away with it. But I was like brick and architect, Brickitect. And then I made like, I was like, I'm going to do this. So I made like an intro video kind of talking about what my plans are and my passion for rekindling my childhood hobby of Lego and the times that I spent carefree, and I showed my collection a little bit. And in that video, or maybe another video, I ended up making like, I took a base plate and I wrote out the word Brickitect on it. And the B in it ended up becoming the logo for this channel. I just tilted it and kind of did it up in like Photoshop. And it kind of just went from there. So I was making videos periodically on Brickitect. It wasn't like very serious because I was still working a full-time job at the time. And the vlog channel at the time was and has been and still is my primary thing that I do. Like that is my video time capsule. And people ask me sometimes if I had to burn one channel down or just keep one channel, I would definitely keep Greg's World because that's where my memories of like my family and stuff are. And Brickitect is just like, it's a hobby channel. But hobbies are important. As you probably have found out if you've ever watched any of my videos, hobbies are my thing. So I was making Lego videos here and there, making vlog stuff probably more often. I remember there was times in the Lego channel with, you know, lately for years I was uploading daily, and we'll get to that, but there was times when I was like, man, I need to at least make one video a month. I need to put out a video, like I need to put a video out because my channel's like dying. So it was always in the background. But Greg's World is continuing on, or at the time it was called 19 Ridge Road because that was our original address, but I eventually converted it over to Greg's World because it kind of seemed appropriate. And I came up with the name Greg's World because I loved the movie Wayne's World growing up, and I kind of just, it's like Greg's World can be anything I want it to be, and has been and will be and continues to be. But in 2015, Clarkman was born. We'll just kind of fast forward to that. And the content kind of shifted from the Roxy Bear content and like just boring stuff to these really exciting videos with my son who's just born and like documenting all the stuff we're getting into. And these videos started popping off called Home Alone with Clark. And I started recording the first time that Cody left me home alone with him. And I was like, I'm going to document what this is like. And that was a funny video that came out that night. And I think we've done maybe 15 of them so far. And I mean, there's a lot of videos that are technically Home Alone with Clark that just aren't titled that. The Remote Learning Kindergarten series is essentially that. But again, that's way in the future. I like to keep my timeline in order here. We're not going to pull Star Wars or whatever on you where we're going all over, hopefully, but some things kind of tie into each other. But Clark videos started coming out. They didn't do incredibly well, but it was just like, that's what I wanted to document because that's what was happening in my life at the time. And eventually, I think it was 2016, we got an inflatable swimming pool for Clark to play in the backyard. I want to say it was 2016 or 2017. It had to be 2016, I think. Trying to get my years right. All this is like so long ago, it seems, especially now. But I just made this little pool video. It wasn't anything special. I didn't think much of it. In fact, in the video, like I didn't even get a shower that day. I was just in like bum clothes, but I was like, hey, I'm gonna set up this inflatable pool, fill it up like Clark Man, kind of go in and play around and have a great time. And that video, for some reason, popped off. And it's crazy. And you'll find this when you make YouTube videos. They're almost like putting messages in a bottle. You throw these little messages out into the ocean, and maybe no one finds it. It just gets carried away. But then maybe someone finds it and they share it, or whatever. The YouTube algorithm is essentially like doing that, I guess, in the background. You have no idea what's going to be. And oftentimes it seems to be like videos that you just don't suspect. Some you're like, man, this video is going to kill, and then it doesn't. But then it's like your random video that you spent no time on and is just like the worst thing you've ever made. For some reason, YouTube's like, that's the one, boys. That's the one we're going to put out. And then you're just like, oh, why did it have to be that video? But this video was actually pretty good. I was proud of it. It was at the time, and this is crazy because, I think this is 2016. This is the time when my videos are actually starting to get kind of okay. This is 5 years later after me starting the channel. They're starting to get kind of like, all right. So we put this video out and it starts popping off, and I start making some decent money from YouTube. Like prior to this, it was maybe like $100 a month, maybe like $200, I think. I should really go back through and see because you kind of get desensitized to it. But it went from like $100 or $200 to like $1,500. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Because like once you have that one video, people start watching other videos, and when people start watching other videos, YouTube starts recommending other videos, and it becomes like this self-fulfilling thing. So it's way easier to like keep the momentum going than it is to start from scratch, just like anything in life. And I was starting to make some money, and it was amazing. It wasn't like enough to like really to have me quit my job, but it was crazy. I remember there was one day that the video really popped off. I made $400 in one day on YouTube. And I was just like blown away. And it was so crazy because it was like a Saturday, and I was working at my job that morning. And, it's just like I had to go in for 3 hours or whatever. And after that, I was at the mall. I forget what I was getting. But I think I was picking up a Lego set, actually. It was kind of just like I was kind of roaming the mall, and then I was going to get a Lego set. And I remember buying that and thinking like, I think I bought a hat that day too, actually. And this is like, I think this is like 2016-ish, maybe 2017. Man, I wish I had my dates proper. This is really ruining my narrative. But the video was popping, and I remember thinking that day like, wow, I made enough money on YouTube today that I could come into the mall and buy like pretty like whatever I want. Not like it to excess, but like I could buy something here today off of the money that I made from YouTube. And I just thought that was wild. I thought that was amazing. Like this thing that I really enjoy doing somehow made some money. So, that kind of came and went. The video, I think the next day did pretty well, and it kind of went back down to like normal numbers. It was just like one of those surges. But as I mentioned, that I was putting out more content and the numbers were starting to go up. The income was getting a little more stable. And by 2017, things in my life were not looking good. At the very end of 2016, I had taken a promotion at my job to become a manager. Prior to that, I was like a loan specialist / assistant manager. Like I had been like promoted, but I didn't really have any managerial duties. I was just like a loan guy, and I loved the job that I was in because it was set income, but I could make like some great bonuses if I did a great job. And I thrive on goals, as you probably know, and I was like really excited to hit those goals and make as much money as I could, because I'm just like I could work a commission job and do really well at it if I was passionate about the item or whatever I was selling or whatever. But I just really enjoyed like working hard and seeing the results of that. And that obviously, like to do YouTube, you have to be that kind of person. You have to be a self-motivated person. But I did well at the job, and they're like, there's a position opening, the lady's retiring at the other branch, would you like to manage it? And I really mulled it over because I was really happy with what I was doing. I was excited about it. I was having fun. I liked the people that I worked with for the most part. But I was like, I can't do this the rest of my life. I can't just be stagnant and stuck here. So I took the position, and I knew that there were some staffing issues with the place that I was going, but I didn't realize just how bad it was until I got there, when I was trying to like train these people on a new system that our company was trying to put onto their company because they had merged. And I just it was just so painful. I just really hated managing people, especially incompetent ones. And I found myself, after trying to teach these people these same things over and over and over again and them just not getting it, I found myself just doing it myself. Like it just was easier for me just to do it. So I was doing like the work of like 3 people. I was putting in crazy hours. I was barely seeing my family. I would get home late. Clarkman would have already eaten. I'd maybe get home in time to put him into the bath and then to bed. And then like it would just be the next day. And I was just miserable in life. About the same time that summer, which is we're now in 2017 for certain, Cody's Graham or Nan took a fall. And it became apparent that she wasn't going to be able to live in her home anymore because it was a 2-story home. So my babysitter, who's Cody's mother, was going to take her in and take care of her. And Clarkman it wasn't going to work very well. Cody was off during the summer, so it was working okay then, but she was about to go back to school in late August, which leaves Clarkman kind of up in the air a little bit, like, what are we going to do with him? And I decided, because I was so darn miserable, and YouTube was like kind of there. It wasn't nearly what I was making at my job, but I was like, we worked really hard in getting out of debt. And I was very focused on that for a number of years. We made a lot of sacrifices to get out of debt because I knew that I didn't want to do what I was doing forever. And I thought, if we don't have any debt, that gives us a lot of options and flexibility that maybe I could pivot and do something else. And I'm so glad I did that, because that gave me the encouragement, or maybe just the courage to end up quitting my job in August of 2017, becoming a stay-at-home dad essentially and a YouTuber at the same time. And that's when the story starts getting really exciting. So there I was, August 2017. All of a sudden I was home with Clarkman. Cody's at work all day. And that's when I started using my time that I had, this newfound time, to really start putting out content. So I started making Greg's World videos like crazy of all like the things we're doing each day. And I started making content on Brickitect, which is the channel that you're probably watching, or how you found this. Maybe you're watching this on, but the one this is connected with. I started putting some serious time into that. Like I said, prior to that, it was maybe like a video every couple weeks. I was trying to keep it alive, but I started making content daily on there in 2017. And it's really crazy when you really start putting your focus into something, what can come of it. Because I started putting these videos out. I started sharing some yard sale stuff. I was doing these mystery bag videos, which turned out to be kind of a hit, just showing what my father-in-law got at like a flea market or a yard sale or whatever. And I'll never forget this day, but it was in October of 2017. We had been doing this for a few months. I was still making the vlog content. I remember coming back from the grocery store, and I was at a red light in October. And I checked my phone, which I shouldn't do, but we were just sitting there. So I check it, and I see Brickitect pop off. And I was like, holy smokes, this is crazy. I remember I was excited about getting 1,500 views a day on my channel. And I was, and all of a sudden it was just like, and I was like, holy cow. So I just kept doing what I was doing, and new people were starting to come, and it was getting really awesome. One downside of this newfound fame, or whatever you want to call it, is that a lot of the people that were watching before, now that I was making videos with my son, because he kind of entered into the fray, they didn't like it. They didn't want a kid to be in the videos. And there was a lot of people that were saying to like get rid of Clark, take him off the channel. And obviously I'm not going to do that. So those people left, and new people ended up finding us that really love the dynamic. They love seeing something different, not just a white background review, but a father and son sharing their Lego collecting journey every day, which is what we were doing at the time. And I was having fun too, because I was building these sets that I had in my backlog that still existed back then, but I was buying a lot of sets while I was working and didn't have time to build them, so they were stacking up, but I started building them, and Clark would be sitting there kind of playing with pieces and maybe, dare I say, building a mini finger eventually, and we were just having a lot of fun, and like the channel just kept going, and we've kind of, this is kind of where we're at. So Greg's World had continued success, kept doing better and better, got to the point where it surpassed what I was making at my job. Brickitect was doing well. Brickitect actually doing as well as Greg's World was when I left my job. So it was just like, man, this is awesome. So since then, I've just kind of been making videos, doing my thing, sharing all the stuff we're doing. I do want to talk about like the progression though. Like I gave you like the story, but let's talk about the progression. Like I mentioned when I bought my first camera back in the day, the quality, it wasn't good. It was 720p, which maybe people still watch today or still upload in, but I don't think YouTube even considers it high definition anymore now that we're in the world of 4K. And geez, maybe 10 years from now, I'll be like looking at 4K videos and putting them in like, wow, that was crazy. We're in 32K now or whatever. But, you know, I feel like through this journey, there's been a lot of growth on my part, not only from technology, but also for me as a person. As you can see, as someone that's maybe somewhat comfortable sitting here talking to a camera, if you go back and watch those very early videos on Brickitect or on Greg's World, I would say that the first several hundred videos on maybe each channel is just very like stiff and like just not comfortable, you know. And I can see why maybe people didn't want to watch back then, but I stuck with it. And the content I felt like starting getting better by maybe 2016. Again, 5 years in, the quality starting getting better. The storytelling has gotten better, at least in the last year or two. I've really been trying to craft my stuff in a way that I'm sharing more than just a clip. Like it used to be, I would turn my camera on, film something, and then like turn my camera off, and I would cut out like the beginning and end, and maybe some things out of the middle. But now I'm like, when I think about a video now, I think about the story arc. It's like you need a beginning, you need like an intro, you need the rising action, you need the climax, falling action, the outro. Like it has to form a story. And I would credit Casey Neistat for that, because he really developed this, like making a YouTube movie essentially, and he was doing that every day. My stuff is nowhere near what his is in terms of editing, but it did teach me that you can't just record something and have it be like that. It needs to flow. And I felt like, man, I've really gotten good at that. I record a lot, I cut a lot, and then I try to make it like a fast-paced, like just edited, like little bit of a story of like our day or activity or whatever it is. I try to tie different things into it. I try to involve the audience the best that I can in some cases. Greg's World, not so much, because that's more of just a journal for me, and there's no community there, unfortunately, which is why this video is not there necessarily. But I try to get you guys in there, and I really love that about YouTube. Speaking of getting you guys in there, I guess that's another part of the progression. I got into live streaming a few years ago, like heavily, and I've loved that. I mentioned before, like I've always dreamed of having like the ability, it's almost like a cable access show or whatever, where you can just go live from your basement or wherever and share it with the world and have that real-time interaction. And I found that in 2018, and I fell in love with it, made my own live streaming channel, which is now, I guess, a dead channel, because I'm now live streaming on my main channel here, or on Brickitect. And I don't know, I still love it to this day. When there's a good chat going on and you're like vibing with the people, it's awesome. So that's been another progression. I've tried doing gaming content. I've done that a lot here on YouTube. I tried it over on Twitch. Didn't really find a place there on Twitch because of my audience just isn't there. I found that you really have to be where your audience is. Trying to get people to move platforms, and I found this out through Patreon as well. It's very hard to do, so I'm kind of like putting all my eggs in the YouTube basket, which isn't necessarily something that I like to do because of something that they did, I guess almost maybe a year and a half ago now, which is COPPA, and that was made for kids videos and stuff like that. I realized that YouTube, in one policy switch, could essentially shut me down entirely. And I still live in that risk. Like, I know that this could all go away tomorrow. And I've accepted that, because that's just reality. Anything could go away tomorrow. I've had people tell me like, "Oh, you're stupid for doing YouTube because, you know, it's not secure. It could disappear." Okay, it could, right? But so could your job. You might think that your job that you go to Monday through Friday is great. You've got benefits, you got vacation pay. Do you know the financials of the company? Do you know for a fact that maybe tomorrow your boss isn't going to call you in and say, "Hey, we're going to have to let you go. We need to downsize." And all of a sudden, you've got nothing. At least with YouTube, instead of having like one boss, I guess, which would be like a subscriber, I've got many of them. And if someone decides to fire me, that's okay. Hopefully someone else hires me, right? And I feel like there's always going to be some opportunity through online content or online video. I don't think it's going anywhere. And if anything, I think it's going to increase even more. I think there's going to be a lot more demand for this, and there's going to be a lot more people. Will it always be on YouTube? I'm not sure. Will it be on TikTok? And this will be fun to look back on 10 years from now. Will it be there? Maybe. Our attention span's getting shorter. Maybe. Will the age of the 5-second video be the future? Maybe. I personally like the connection that you get from a video like this, a long one where you get to know the person and connect with them. But there's a market for everybody, and like there's live streaming, there's regular videos, there's shorts. I mean, there's all these things, and it's fun to see where it goes. But ultimately, one thing that I'm always thinking of is that I'm still employable. If this thing ever just collapsed on us, first of all, we're in a financial position where, again, I've set my budget and we have no debt because I made that decision long ago that if we had to live off of just my wife's income for a period of time while I regather and try to figure out what the next plan is, we could easily do that. We're never going to be homeless. You can't take something from someone that doesn't owe it. Like, I don't have obligations to anyone unless I don't pay my taxes. That's something you're never getting out of. But if you're not a slave to a lender, they can't take it. You don't owe money on your car. No one's going to take your car. You don't owe money on your house. No one's taking your house. Like, it's nice to have that security, and that security really helped me because I'm not much of a risk taker. Having the security, and I've said this before, the only reason any of this is happening is because of Cody. She had a good job. She had benefits for our family, healthcare and all that stuff. And I had her support to do this. Like, this wasn't me just saying, I'm quitting my job. Like, she saw it. And she knew that, maybe believed in me, I'd like to say, that I could do this. And she gave me the go-ahead, and it's all because of her. And, her making sacrifices along with me to pay off our debt and stuff. And that's the only reason this is happening, is because of that. If this was just me by myself, I don't know if I would have ever taken that leap to make this a full-time thing, because the risk is great, like, especially in the beginning. And to not know what your next paycheck's coming from, and to not have health care and stuff. At least that's something here in the United States that we have to think about. It's scary. So I'll talk about some advice here before we talk about the future. If you're thinking about becoming a YouTuber, just know that my path is not the common path. I've had a lot of luck in this. I mean, I think there's in some case where you make your own luck. And I think making your own luck is the big part of it is just showing up, doing your thing, putting those messages in the bottle and throwing them out. The more bottles you throw out, the more chance that a bottle gets picked up, and then the bottles find each other. There's like magnets in these bottles. You can make your own luck, but don't think that, oh, I just heard Greg's story. I'm going to drop everything and just start making YouTube videos, and then I'm going to be the next big rich person or whatever and driving a Lamborghini or whatever. Probably not going to happen. In fact, I've tried very hard to get people to start YouTube channels, but I've learned over the years that maybe that's not a good thing to do. I think if you're going to make a YouTube channel, you need to be very passionate about whatever it is that you plan to share, whether it's a hobby. And I always say everyone has a YouTube channel because you have a hobby or something you're interested in, and there's other people out there that are interested in that as well, regardless of what it is. Even if it's something really weird and not common, there's people are going to find you. But if you don't love that thing, and you don't love, even more so, making videos, editing videos, uploading videos, that's the grind. The fun part is making the video. Like, I could sit here all day and make Lego content and have a great time. It's that editing. It's making the story out of it. It's putting in the background work that will wear you down. And if you don't have the dedication to do that, I wouldn't even bother getting started. You can give it a shot if you want to. You could do what I did in the beginning, and that's just like straight up hit the record button, film your thing, mistakes and all, whatever, and then hit the stop button, maybe chop out the beginning and end where you're kind of like getting set up and put that out to the world. It's a great place to start to see how it goes. But I see a lot of people that start and then get discouraged because they only got a few views on their video. They spent 2 hours making it and only 10 people watched it or whatever. And if that's the mentality that you're going to have, don't even bother. Just don't even start, because you're never going to make it. And I think it's good for somebody to tell you that, because there's lots of people out there that'll tell you, like, oh, you could accomplish your dreams. You're only going to accomplish your dreams if you're that motivated and dedicated and driven person. I told you a part of my story is thriving in areas where it's like there's a goal out there to get. And I want that. And I will stop at nothing to get that. I'll do whatever it is. I'll sacrifice it all to get to my goal. If you're not that type of person, you're probably not going to be a great YouTuber. If you're not a person that, especially if you're planning to do this full time, that can wake up in the morning and not have a boss tell you every single move to make, to be your own boss, to know that you're probably going to work yourself harder than what any other person is going to, and you're going to be the more critical person of yourself than anyone ever could be. If you're not that person, don't even come into it, because you're not going to last. You're going to become another dead channel. And the Lego space in particular is polluted with people like that think they're going to come in and be the next whoever making Lego content, because, man, I love Lego. I love to make a living doing this. I'll have you know that making a living in Lego is very unlikely. In fact, if I only was doing Lego content, like it's Lego is probably about between 5 and 10% of my actual income. A smart financial person and a smart business owner would drop my Lego channel like a pile of bricks, and instead of focusing the past 4 years or whatever on putting out a lot of content here, I would have dumped it all into vlogs on Greg's World. But it's that passion that keeps me going, because this is what I like to do. I'm having fun, and a big part of it is that. So that's my advice to you, I guess, if you're thinking about making a YouTube channel. I hope you heed that advice, but don't let me discourage you. Try anything once, and if you like it, you do, and if it doesn't work out, so be it. What have you really lost? I mean, what were you doing anyway, right? Let's talk, though. We'll finish this episode out here with some discussion of the future, specifically 10 years from now, because I'd like to be sitting here in 2031 and be like, all right, guys, I just did 20 years of being a YouTuber or whatever I am. I'm now a TikToker. I don't know. There might be a whole new thing that comes along. I'm a Facebooker. Please no. Anyways, what do I want for the next 10 years? Where do I see myself in 10 years? And it's crazy because, like I mentioned, being like a goal-driven person, but I would be completely thrilled if 10 years from now, I'm doing exactly what I'm doing now. I hope that there's someone out there that cares to hear my story or to be a part of my journey wherever it is or what it may be, whether it's gaming, Lego, RC. You know, obviously hobbies are a big thing for us, as I mentioned. Just sharing my life. I hope there's somebody out there that cares enough about that, and I do think that's going to be the case. I see my audience in the next 10 years kind of growing with me and growing up with me. I think that like the younger audience is going to trail away as Clark gets older. He'll be 16 at that point. I'm thinking we'll still be doing content together. Like, I want to be one of those dads that's still involved in their kid's life. I think we could be a great team forever. And as far as I know right now, Clark's goal in life, and this is coming from a 6-year-old, but his goal is to be a Minecraft streamer, which I'm sure like is every other 6-year-old's goal too. But I truly believe that if he puts the time and effort into it, especially with the audience that we have now and the people that just love him, I think that 10 years from now, he could be doing very well for himself. And a 16-year-old Clark may be making more money from streaming video games or whatever than he could ever make at a regular job beyond high school. He's not dropping out of high school, but when the conversation of college comes up in 12 years, we're really going to have to think about it. Like, what do you want to do? Like, it's totally up to him. I'm not going to sway him. I think him seeing me do this, he wants to do this as well. Like, he talks about having tons of kids, and like he wants to have like 8 kids or something, and he wants to be a stay-at-home dad and make videos and stuff. And I think that's cute, like that he wants to do that as well. And I guess that's something that's really awesome that's come out of this. Maybe I should talk about this a little bit as we talk about the future. I feel so lucky to have had this time with Clark, man. Of all the other things, of getting out of a toxic situation at my job, that pales in comparison to the time that we've had, because that's something that I would have never had. I would have been working like crazy. I would have had a few weeks off a year where we could have done a vacation or whatever. I would have seen him at nighttime on the weekends, as you kind of recuperate from the week. But all this time that we've had, I've had almost 4 years now of just being with him every day, doing the things that we want to do, going on adventures. Like, it's been the best gift ever. And I've always thought, like, if YouTube ever crashes now at this point, I really won. I won the lottery because I had those epic years with Clark, and I think it's made him and myself into a better person. I've become way more patient over the years, because when you have a 2-year-old or 4-year-old, 6-year-old, you really got to be patient. You got to get out of yourself and start thinking about how someone else is more important than you are, and their needs come before yours. And it taught me that. And I think with Clark, man, I think it's helped with him in his communication with other people. I think that he's become a more well-rounded person. I see him picking up my lingo, which probably isn't for the best, but he's become essentially like a little mini-me, and I'm proud of him. I'm super proud. So I think in 10 years' time, I'm going to probably try not to get emotional. I think I'm going to be saying more of that. I think I'm going to say, man, we just had the last 14 years together. What an amazing ride that we've been on, sharing all of our experiences, not only with ourselves, but with the world. People have been able to, just like me at the very beginning, as we circle back around, feel like they're a part of our family. And as we share an authentic look at our lives and our hobbies and our existence. And I just think that's an incredible thing to be a part of on both ends. And I hope you feel the same way as well. But yeah, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep sharing my journey with the world and whatever we do, and doing that with my family, and having the time and the luxury and the margin to do all of that is it's a true blessing. And I want to thank you all, if you're listening to this, or if you've ever watched a video or subscribed or done whatever you've ever done for us. I want to thank you for being a part of that, because without you, this episode wouldn't be possible, and none of this would be. It'd be a very different place, and in my life, and I like to think in maybe some other people's lives too, based on the messages that I've got, the inspiration. Like, I hear that word a lot, and just parents reaching out and saying how much their kid really appreciates what we're doing, and they do as well, because it's a place that they know that they can watch a video and not have it be something that they wouldn't necessarily want. So let's keep going, baby. Another 10 years. Let's get this. I hope that you're along with us on the journey. Hope you can grow with us, and I'm really looking forward to what's to come. So come back 10 years from now, and we'll do a part 2 of this on Missing Pieces, episode number 3000. I don't even know, but it's going to be great. So thank you for watching or listening. Hope you have a glorious rest of your week, and we'll see you, or we'll find you, in the next Missing Pieces.